It's Monday, August 19. In the headlines, Energy Minister Darrell Vaz wants clarification on increased JPS bills. In business news, the Factories Corporation of Jamaica launches a second real estate development. Regionally, Trinidad and Tobago steps up vigilance for Mpox. And in sports, young reggae boys celebrating back-to-back wins. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz is seeking clarity in response to multiple complaints of a spike in electricity bills from the Jamaica Public Service. In a media release on Sunday evening, Minister Vaz says he plans to write the Office of Utilities Regulations, OUR, on Monday, insisting on an investigation into multiple complaints about the issue. The Energy Minister is also demanding an explanation from the JPS for the spike.
In essence, people are very upset that they have not had light for a significant period, and in some cases their light bills are showing 100% increase in the usage. I intend to write to the OUR and JPS asking for an immediate investigation, because this is not new. This has been a repeated complaint by customers of the JPS for many, many years. But now that there has been an interruption for an extended period in the power supply, people can actually judge and see exactly what is taking place with their bill.
The Energy Minister says he received reports that JPS customers who were without electricity for an extended time due to Hurricane Beryl have received a major increase in their bills.
Out of adversity comes opportunity. And I can tell you, this is an opportunity to make sure that we do a proper investigation into the billing cycle of JPS, because there are glaring discrepancies in these bills. I know of one situation where a community center in St. Elizabeth was completely destroyed. The billing cycle shows that they had power 2 days before Beryl was the start of the billing cycle, and they have not had power since. And they have a bill for 71,000 Jamaican dollars.
With global warming now heating the world to 1.2 degrees Celsius above its average in the late 19th century, summers are hotter than ever before, and for many of us, so is our electricity bill. The summer often causes increase in our use of fans, air conditioning units, and refrigerators. This can double the electricity bill, so how do you manage it? How do you ensure that it does not go far beyond your budget? We have some answers in this upcoming feature.
In the heart of the Caribbean, where sun-soaked beaches meet bustling city life, this time of year Jamaicans face a revolving challenge: managing their energy bills.
Nowadays, the electricity is mostly committed to cooling, or you could say running motors. So during the summer months, there is a lot more need for cooling ourselves. So running fans, running AC, and there's a lot more thirst for water. They want their lawns to be maintained, they want their crops to stay healthy, so we use a lot more water also.
As temperatures soar, so do electricity expenses, leaving households searching for solutions. Here are some practical tips and considerations to help navigate through the heat without burning through your budget.
Many young people are not at school, and so the homes are more occupied in the summer generally. So we need to kind of encourage a culture of going outside more. And somebody may say, but outside is hot. But we have to find ways of enjoying the outdoors and not always be inside. Because when you're inside, usually what are the young people doing? Watching TV or on a laptop or so forth. And all those things will contribute to higher energy. And of course, you have to keep the room that you're in cool. And sometimes that's not properly managed.
It's vital to unplug idle electronics as many off devices still sip power.
We think that because you press the off button that your device, your appliance is not using power. But these days you have a lot of smart devices that have to stay alive pretty much, even though you have turned it off, and that will use power. And it may seem like a little bit of power, but we say one cocoa full basket. So a lot of these devices all combined together can cause your power to go up, your power consumption to go up.
Strategic planting can cool your home, though hurricane concerns must be considered.
We can't say you should always have trees because there's also the concern of hurricane season. The hurricane season coincides with the summer, right, the hottest time. So we have to, in a very careful way, see how we can use vegetation in a way that can help in cooling the environment of your home or around your home, but at the same time doesn't increase the hazards that will come because of the hurricane season.
Choosing between airy linen and sweat-absorbing cotton can also boost the summer comfort.
So linen is a very light fabric and it's very airy, especially in a drier climate, not very humid climate. It's very comfortable. Even in a hot environment, it can still feel comfortable. Cotton is the other one, and cotton is one that will absorb the sweat from your body, and then the sweat will then evaporate from the cotton fiber, and when it does, it actually makes you feel a lot cooler, almost like a natural air condition. You can isolate your movement in your home, so if you have to be indoors, stay in a certain room, keep that room cool. You don't have to keep the whole house cool. Or if you have to go from room to room, you can change the temperature to something that you can tolerate.
By focusing on key areas and making smart choices, you can create a cooler and more comfortable living space.
They can ensure that on those south-facing wall, east-facing wall, and your west-facing wall, that you use thicker curtains at your windows. Another thing to do is that if they can apply a reflective coating, like a film or even a tint on the windows, and they might be able to exploit that strategy, ensuring that you're not using a unit to cool a space that it is not sized for. Some people might choose to only have an air conditioning installed for the bedrooms. Don't try to use it to cool the bedroom and the living room and the kitchen and all the other and the entire house.
Innovative technologies are also on the market, offering new ways to manage energy usage and costs effectively.
These days, these include smart devices that have timers on them, which you can schedule them to turn on and turn off. Devices, occupancy sensors, for example, that can see when somebody's in a room and turn on. And there may be even more sophisticated ones that can sense how many people are in the room.
Managing energy bills during the summer is essential for staying cool and cost-effective. Next time the summer heat feels overwhelming, remember these tips to keep your energy usage in check.
The University Hospital of the West Indies has announced a temporary hold on the transfer of non-emergency cases from other institutions. The UHWI explains in a release that the majority of the patients visiting the emergency room in recent days have required admission due to non-communicable diseases. Medical Chief of Staff at the hospital, Dr. Carl Bruce, says the institution has been at full capacity in the last week. He says 90% of the recent emergency patients present with complications from chronic non-communicable diseases. As a result, UHWI is requesting that all private and public hospitals, as well as nursing homes, retain stable patients until the situation improves. The hospital says it continues to provide care for emergency cases and will accept critically ill patients who require immediate action. Those patients will be transferred directly to the critical care unit as needed. Dr. Bruce says the advisory only affects the transfer of stable patients. In a groundbreaking initiative, 200 teachers will receive scholarships totaling $31 million to pursue financial education training, thanks to a new partnership between the Ministry of Education and Youth and Profit Jumpstarter Academy. This program aims to boost financial literacy among teachers who will then pass on their knowledge to students and the broader community. Addressing the Build Wealth Conference 2024 at the AC Marriott Hotel in Kingston, Portfolio Minister Favour Williams emphasized that enhancing financial training for teachers is crucial for fostering national development and professional growth. She highlighted that financial literacy is key to unlocking opportunities for students, helping them avoid debt, and ensuring their future success. Minister Williams also stressed the importance of integrating financial education into the school curriculum, asserting that students need both academic and financial skills to thrive. In the business report, the Factories Corporation of Jamaica has launched a second real estate development aimed at becoming a one-stop center for both private and public sector businesses. The Morant Bay Urban Center in the parish of St. Thomas was the first, and the $4.2 billion Jamaican Bound Brook Urban Center in the parish of Portland will be the second development and should be completed by December 2024. The 148,000 square foot complex will house the Portland Municipal Corporation, financial institutions, medical facilities, restaurants, a supermarket, BPO offices, education centers, retail, and fast food operators. There is now a 100% take-up of available units. The idea is to replicate them in all parishes in Jamaica. Companies listed on the stock exchange have continued to release their financial results. Logistics company Mailpack Group Limited reports 6 months net profit of $68.67 million. Food seasoning firm Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited reports 6 months net profit of $52.83 million. Insurance firm First Rock JMD reports 6 months net loss of $779,105. Caribbean investment firm Proven reports first quarter net loss of $1.37 million. Pastry manufacturer and distributor Honeybun Limited reports 19% increase in 9 months net profit. Seasoning firm Spurtree Spices Jamaica Limited reports 2% increase in 6 months net profit attributable to shareholders. Media firm iCreate reports 6 months net loss of $1.22 million. Now for a look at trade movements in the financial market with Denise Williams.
During trading for the period of August 16, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited 8% with 39,381,076 units, representing 66.77% of the market value in terms of sales. alternative energy provider Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 2,585,272 units, representing 4.38% of the market value in terms of sales. Microfinance firm Dollar Financial Services Limited with 2,100,105 units represent 3.56% of the market value in terms of sales. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the stock market, we turn to the Forex market. On August 16, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $44.07 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $43.5 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $158.26 and bought the US dollar for $156.08. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $2.20, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $5.43 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $115.36 and bought for $109.93. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $5.13, selling it for $202.88 and buying it for $197.75. For our credit report tip of the day, we're looking at bundling your auto loans and mortgage with your bank, which can be a smart financial strategy, offering benefits like lower interest rates, simplified payments, and even exclusive perks. However, your credit score plays a crucial role in determining the success and advantages of bundling your auto loan and your mortgage. A high credit score can give you the leverage to negotiate lower interest rates when bundling your auto loan and mortgage. Banks are more likely to offer favorable terms to customers with excellent credit, which can result in significant savings over the life of the combined loan, allowing you to buy a house and buy a car.
In regional news, Trinidad and Tobago has stepped up screening at the ports of entry for the Mpox virus, specifically for the new type known as 1B, which has been raging in the African continent.
A new variant of the Mpox virus known as 1B has been seen to be a lot more transmissible than the 2022 clade, which was previously only seen to be spread via close, intimate sexual contact. Now, the latest variant has been spreading through non-sexual means and is now affecting the entire body with blisters compared to just the mouth and genitals previously. Cases have been spotted outside of Africa during the past week, including one in Sweden and another in Pakistan, while several African countries that never had a case are now reporting infections. Health Minister Terence Dialsing says Trinidad and Tobago has already taken proactive steps to ensure protocols are in place in the event of a suspected case.
You are not screening or testing for Mpox at the airport. That is not done. You are testing for fevers, which could be due to anything. However, we are also working with CARFA through Caribbean Impacts to get the advanced passenger manifest, which tells us who has been to Africa.
If a passenger presents a fever and has recently been to Africa, the minister said there are protocols for quarantine and isolation, such as what previously existed during the pandemic.
Because this one seems to be spreading more easily, we have our isolation facilities in the public health sector. For example, CORA, where we have negative pressure rooms and so on. So we can isolate persons if we need to isolate.
And with the severity of the new clade currently between 3 and 5%, Minister Dialsing said there's no need to vaccinate the population at this time.
What is recommended for us is one, advising people if you are going to go to Africa to be careful. Two, if we vaccinate the general population, there is currently limited production capacity. Therefore, our vaccines will finish. And then if we have a case, I will have no vaccines.
He said Trinidad and Tobago does have vaccines for at least 1,400 people at this time if the need arises.
We in Trinidad imported in 2022 2,800 doses of Bavarian Nordic vaccines. It's a 2-dose regime, so therefore 2,800 doses means you can vaccinate 1,400 persons. The cost of those vaccines in 2022 was 238,000 euros or 85 euros per dose.
In a keynote address at the Caribbean Climate Resilience event held at Hilton Barbados Resort, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade Kerry Simmons called for increased partnerships to fund major projects aimed at enhancing the region's climate resilience. Simmons warned that the Caribbean faces an escalating climate crisis, stressing that the challenge spans infrastructure and utilities. He also highlighted CARICOM's efforts to address global financing and trade inadequacies by engaging directly with world leaders.
We need to bring new revenue to the table. I made the point early that there are several billions of dollars that this country by itself will be forced to look at in the course of building resilience. If you take that and multiply it with all of the developing states, small island states of the world, you're into the trillions. And if you then add on to that all of the other countries who themselves are on a similar trajectory, you are into multiple trillions of dollars. We must bring private sector money to the table. And we have to be realistic about the way in which we approach this. There can be no divorce between the resilience effort and standard issues in international trade and the concerns of small states. We're building a new economy. It will be a green energy economy. New technology will fuel that economy. But the old paradigm of the North Atlantic coming here, extracting, and going about their business cannot work. We have to build wealth. We have to have the South existing in the center and not on the periphery of the process. And the countries of the South must be part of the process.
In Antigua and Barbuda, Ambassador Anthony Liverpool has affirmed that Venezuela's July 28 presidential election was fair. Speaking at a forum at the Venezuelan embassy on Old Parham Road on Saturday, Liverpool, who served as one of Antigua and Barbuda's international observers, shared his observations. The forum coincided with separate demonstrations in Venezuela, with crowds showing support for both President Nicolas Maduro and the opposition coalition. Garfield Burford has more.
Venezuela's presidential election on July 28 continues to stoke vigorous debate within the hemisphere. The official results show President Nicolas Maduro won with close to 52% of the votes, while the main opposition presidential candidate, Edmundo Gonzalez, also claims victory. On Saturday, the Venezuelan embassy in Antigua and Barbuda was the venue for a panel discussion featuring international observers to the elections in Venezuela from this country. Venezuela's ambassador to Antigua and Barbuda, Carmen Velasquez, explains the country's electoral council was the target of cyber attacks, which delayed the announcement of the results. Ambassador Velasquez explains the electoral chamber of the Supreme Tribunal of Justice, which is engaged in an expert analysis of the election results, is continuing to look into the election results. She spoke through translator Blenis Vera Ortiz.
Que tampoco tenían testigos, etc.
So, if Mr. Edmundo had any documentation that could prove the fraud, he did not present the documentation before the High Court.
One of this country's international observers for the elections, Ambassador Anthony Liverpool, gives his assessment of the elections.
I'm satisfied that the elections were conducted efficiently in a fair and transparent manner. All of the registered voters who wanted to exercise their right to vote participated in a peaceful and accommodating environment. Based on the process observed, I'm satisfied that the results of the elections reflected the will of most of the voters in the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela.
Chief of Staff in the Prime Minister's Office, Ambassador Lionel Hurst, says Antigua and Barbuda frowns on any interference in the internal affairs of other countries.
It has been the position of Antigua and Barbuda not to allow institutions like the OAS to be used to interfere in the internal affairs of states, and in this particular case, in the internal affairs of Venezuela.
In sports, we open the scoreboard with football. The young Reggae boys are still celebrating back-to-back victory games to start the Caribbean Football Union's Under-14 Challenge Series in Trinidad and Tobago. The boys scored a 6-0 win over Aruba on Sunday following Saturday's opening 2-0 win over St. Kitts and Nevis. The Reggae boys Kelvin Brown, Kyle Hussey, Tevin Savage, and Rajon Booth are the ones hitting the balls in the back of the net. The Jamaicans will face the host nation, Trinidad and Tobago, on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Jamaica time. We turn to cricket as the West Indies put up a commendable fight on Saturday at the National Stadium in Providence, Guyana, during the third day of the second and final test against South Africa. Despite their efforts, they ultimately lost the match by 40 runs, conceding the series 1-0. Captain Craig Brathwaite shared his thoughts after the match.
Letting South Africa get to 160 in the first innings after they were 97 for 9 was a key moment in the second test match versus the West Indies, in a match with several key moments.
But looking at the ball, I'm out for 160. It was happy. But yeah, they had obviously that partnership for them was good. It's cricket where partnerships do happen. So I won't really stress on that too much. But what I would say is, our first innings total, needed to be bigger. We needed to get a lead from it. I think that was very important. Can never complain about the bowler's effort. To bowl them out for 160. But yeah, the batting effort first innings, just wasn't big enough. We had to, fight back into the game, and in the end, we fall short by 40 runs.
The bowlers did their job with the ball and also kept the West Indies in the match with the bat. This was not lost on Brathwaite.
Yeah, I think Jamal Ward can really, show his class and his worth in both of these test matches. And that was great to see. Obviously, Jason, showing seniority and, even off the field and on the field. And, these guys have a lot of talent, a lot of potential, and, we just got to keep working. The work never stops. Also, we have quite a little break now to the next test series. But just got to keep fighting, man. Keep fighting and believing. And once we improve as players, the sky's the limit. I think bowling wise, you look at Shamar coming back in, not playing the first test and coming in and bowling out South Africa in the first day. Jaden throughout the series, he continued to keep coming despite it was some hot conditions. That was a positive. You see the two spinners, one of the first time two spinners played together in the Caribbean, and they did well. In particular, this game where both of them were on the 3 runs and over. That was one thing we asked for, and that was great to see. And I think Jason Holder, how he batted in this first innings, in this second test especially. When we were losing a lot of wickets, and he stood there and controlled things, hold things together. I think that was a positive. But few more positives as well.
The captain's aim is to produce more of those positive moments.
Like Alec, I think he has the world of potential. I can see him scoring a lot of test hundreds. But we just gotta keep thinking about our game, finding ways to improve. But pretty pleased with the bowling effort throughout this series, and batting wise, we fought. Maybe we scored above 200, in 3 of the innings. So just for us to aim to do it more consistently, and that's always the task. We always hear about being consistent. And I think mentally, it's to find ways to be better.
The focus now shifts to the 3-match T20 International Series between the two teams, which is scheduled to start this coming Friday, August 23rd, at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Tarouba.
And that's the news on PBCJ. Thank you so much for watching.